called Knock, Knock, Knock. "You're wearing that to a costume party?" exclaimed Nicole. "That's not a costume." "I'm going as a jogger," Mark said. "You jog every day. That's your old gray running suit." "So it's authentic," Mark said. "Anyhow, I didn't have time to come up with a real costume." "You could have rented one," Nicole pointed out. "I'm not wasting my hard-earned college money on a giant bunny outfit," he said. "Besides, you're dressed up enough for both of us." "I'm Queen Guinevere," she explained. "You know, that she married King Arthur." "Yeah, I saw the movie on TV," Mark said. Nicole, just to put you on yellow alert, my car's been giving me a little trouble." Nicole sighed. "Will it get us there?" 98% certainty. "And back?" she wondered. Then she added quickly, "Don't give me the odds. Just get us there. We'll work out the rest later." "You've got it," Mark said, offering her his arm. "Queen Guinevere, your Toyota awaits." "Lancelot, you're not," she said, laughing. "But you do look pretty good, even in a grungy jogging suit." Finally, there goes. However, Nicole's high spirits soon evaporated. Mark's car managed nearly to stall out at every stop sign or intersection. "Are you sure we'll get to the country club?" she asked anxiously. "Yeah, I'm sure," Mark snapped as the engine sputtered and the car shuddered. Nicole held her breath, but the problem seemed to correct itself. It just wasn't the car that made her jittery. A heavy fog had settled over the lonely, twisting country road. "Relax, put on some music," Mark suggested, adding quickly, on the radio. The cassette player is broken." Nicole almost said something about what bad shape everything was in, but she decided not to risk an argument. As the hills grew higher, the music stations faded into static. All she could get was a news station. "Great," she said, making a face. Then she paused, listening intently as the radio announced, "Warning everyone in the Norris Valley area that convicted killer Owen Helms, the so-called Hangman, has escaped from the criminal asylum at Pinecrest." "That's just at the other end of the valley," cried Nicole. She was going to insist that Mark turn the car around when two things happened. The radio program dissolved into crackling static, and the car bucked twice and died. Mark used what momentum was left to steer the Toyota to the side of the road. They came to a stop under a tree. Condensed fog dripped from an overhanging branch. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Mark turned the ignition key several times, but all the engine would do was gurgle and chuff. Soon, even these noises grew weaker. The car refused to start. Finally, Nicole said, "Give it a rest. You're just draining the battery." Mark slammed his fist against the steering wheel. Then he climbed out, lifted the hood, and fiddled with the engine. "Try it now," he'd call every few minutes. But when Nicole turned the key, all she got were clicks. In between, she tried to get some more news on the escaped killer, but the radio just gave off creepy sounds like whispers, so she snapped it off. "I'm going to have to go and get help. Lucky I wore my jog togs and my Nikes after all. I think we're just a few miles from the country club. I'll call a tow truck from there, then have someone bring me back here. I shouldn't be gone more than a half hour or so." "No way am I staying out here by myself," said Nicole, "not with the happy Hangman on the loose." "Be reasonable, Nick. How are you going to jog in that costume of yours? And I'm not about to go for a stroll through the freezing fog." "No, Mark, please." "If you're really worried, crouch down on the floor in the back under the old blanket. If anyone comes along, they'll think the car is empty. But no one will bother you, I promise." "You also promised to get us to the party," she said, but she was more scared than angry. "Oh, all right, but I swear I'm not coming out until from under that blanket until I'm sure it's you. I'm going to leave you the keys for safekeeping. When I get back, I'll knock 3 times like this." He went on the roof of the car, just above the door on the driver's side. "Don't come out until you hear that signal." "I won't," she said. "Believe me." He kissed her goodbye, watched while she locked and tested both doors, then waved as he jogged away into the fog. The minute he was out of sight, she climbed into the back seat, bunched up in the narrow space, and arranged the musty old blanket over herself. How long she remained there, Nicole wasn't sure. When her legs began to cramp, she brought her watch up to her face without disturbing the blanket and read the illuminated dial. Less than half hour has passed, but it felt like more like years. Suddenly, she heard a knock on the roof of the car. "Mark?" she whispered. She was about to throw off the blanket when she remembered he'd promised to knock 3 times. She had a sudden sickening feeling that someone else was outside, maybe trying to find a way into the locked car. "Please, please knock again," she whispered. "Make it be Mark." Knock. "One more, please. Just once more." Knock. She almost laughed out loud with relief. Knock. Her blood turned to ice water. Knock, knock, knock. She froze, hardly daring to breathe, as the knocks continued on and on, spaced just about the same. Each one was like a fist in her stomach. Shh. At first, she was sure that the hangman was trying to get in. Then she imagined that he was so wacko that he was probably just beating on the car like a child pounding endlessly on a toy drum. Finally, she wondered if he knew she was inside and was tormenting her until he smashed a window. Knock, knock, knock. Please, somebody come help me, she prayed. Knock, knock. Then she heard the sound of heavy boots crunching on the gravel, voices, and a radio with the dispatcher's voice giving instructions that she couldn't make out. Knock. Then mercifully it stopped. Mark must have come, or the tow truck. Nicole sat up and looked out the window and screamed. 2 men were staring in at her. After a terrifying, confused moment, she realized that they were police. Behind them, she saw the spinning blue and red lights on top of their police car. "It's okay, young lady," the first officer said. "You can come out now." Her shaking hand found the lock release. She climbed unsteadily out. "Where's Mark?" she asked, looking around. "Didn't he come with you?" "Come to the patrol car," said the second officer. "Don't look back. Just keep your eyes on the patrol car." "Why can't I look?" Nicole asked. She turned suddenly and saw Mark's body, still in the gray jogging outfit, hanging from the tree limb above the car. "Hey!" yelled the officer. "You don't want to see this, miss." As he reached out to grab her, the body started swinging. Nicole watched in horror as the one-clad Nike foot began to beat against the roof of the car. Knock, knock,